Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I am Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Hey, we have started down this rabbit hole. It started with this video right here, where we talked about the value of building ARs from lower receivers when it comes to the possibility of, amnesty registration. Of course, that then led us to this video right here, which was basically, how likely is it that ATF would actually show up to want to inspect one of your AR pistols? And that was based primarily on what kind of data may have been previously provided to them at the time of purchasing. Well, that has led us to more and more questions from our viewers, and a question I think we really do need to answer, because I think there's a lot of misnomers about this. I think there's some big misconceptions, and I want to get this really cleared up for you. So today, let's spend a few minutes and talk about, can the ATF just show up to inspect your firearms? Okay, before we get going down the road we're going down, proud to announce that this video is being brought to you by Legal Heat. That's right, the nation's largest educator of concealed carry classes. Legal Heat has now taught over 200,000 people nationwide since they started doing this in 2005. Now listen, for my Washington viewers, you guys can find a class at any one of these locations right here. For those of you watching somewhere outside the state of Washington, well, congratulations, you are living far freer than we are. But you too can find a class near your own backyard by visiting them at mylegalheat.com. That's mylegalheat.com. Now listen, for any of you anywhere, no matter where you are, if you find a class and you like it, go ahead and sign up and use the promo code Washington Gun Law. That is Washington Gun Law, all one word, and you will receive 10% off. So for more information, visit them at mylegalheat.com. Okay, so the issue we are talking about today is kind of twofold. Number one, can the ATF just show up to inspect your firearms? And of course, the secondary question is, would they? And I think that there is some big misconceptions about what ATF has the legal authority to do and what they don't have the legal authority to do. And in many ways, the authority for ATF to inspect any of your firearms is going to have to be authority that you yourself give them, okay? In order to truly understand this topic, though, we're going to have to break our firearms down into two categories, okay? We're going to have our NFA firearms, you know, our short barrel shotguns, short barrel rifles, automatic weapons, suppressors, other destructive devices, things such as that, or as I call it, the apex predator of the firearm world. And then we'll have all of our other firearms, you know, the ones that all of us own, which is your shotguns, your rifles, your semi-automatic rifles, your handguns, pistols, and so forth. These are non-NFA regulated items. So let's go ahead and start with that latter category, okay? That is our non-NFA regulated firearms, our plain old handguns, pistols, shotguns, rifles, and so forth. Does ATF have legal authority to show up and demand inspection of your firearms when they're in that category of firearms? The answer is no, they do not. They do not have any authority to demand the inspection of any non-NFA regulated firearm. So if you get a knock on the door and ATF says, hey, we want to take a look at your AR pistol, we want to take a look at your AR rifle, we want to take a look at your handguns, do you have any legal obligation to show them those firearms? No, you do not. Now, we've seen this video kicking around here on the internet. In fact, I did a video on it myself about ATF showing up on the form that they use when a person purchases more than one handgun at a time. And can ATF show up and ask questions? Yeah, ATF can show up at any time for any reason and and see if you're willing to engage in a voluntary discussion, which is exactly what occurred on this video right here. But does ATF have legal authority to demand an inspection of any of your non-NFA regulated firearms? No, they do not. Now, let's talk about the NFA regulated firearms, because I think there is a big misconception about this. Every time I'm on one of these chat boards geeking out on topics about NFA related items, what we'll see is people say, hey, listen, I'm not even going to get involved in the NFA stuff because I'm not willing to waive my Fourth Amendment rights. There are many people out there that believe that if you own NFA items, the ATF, the Department of Justice, the federal government, has the authority to inspect those items anytime they wish. Do they? The answer to that question is no, they do not. There is nothing on your Form 1 if you manufactured your NFA item. There is nothing on your Form 4. There is nothing in your tax stamp that voluntarily waives your Fourth Amendment right to be free from unreasonable government searches and seizures. There are many people who believe if you own an SBR, if you own a suppressor, that ATF can just show up anytime they want, willy-nilly, and ask to inspect that item. They may do that. I am not claiming that ATF might not do that. Do they have the legal authority that would require you to show them that item? No, they do not. Now, I know what a lot of you are saying. I thought if I own an NFA item, that means they can do annual inspections on it. No, that is not you, the private owner of an NFA item. It is FFLs. Licensed FFLs that are subject to annual random inspections during normal business hours once a year. Now, whether it happens once a year or not, that remains to be seen. You'd have to contact and talk to individual FFLs. But yes, the ATF has the authority to do one random inspection per year for every FFL, but they do not have the legal authority to conduct a random inspection of your firearms, whether they're NFA items or non-NFA items. So the bottom line is this, is that if you are getting a visit from ATF agents and they want to inspect your firearm, whether it is an NFA item or a non-NFA item, whether it is a serialized firearm or an unserialized firearm, if they don't have a search warrant, then they're going to need an exception to that warrant requirement. And the most common exception that we get to the warrant requirement is consent. They're going to ask for your consent. Do you mind if we come in? Do you mind if we take a look at it? You mind if we take a look around? Hey, would you mind if you grabbed that and you brought it out here real quick so we can take a look at it? That is a request for a consent search. So if they show up and they want to ask you to inspect some of your firearms, it means that they are looking for an exception to the warrant requirement. They don't have a warrant. Now, here are the exceptions to the warrant requirement. Consent, which we're going to talk about in a moment. Number two, if there's probable cause to believe that a crime is being committed and there are exigent circumstances such that a life is in danger or that items are about to be destroyed and unrecoverable, then there is potentially under exigent circumstances an exception to the warrant requirement. They could be items that you have abandoned, or they could be items that are in plain sight. But beyond that, if they want to conduct a search in the absence of a search warrant, that is a judge signing off saying, yes, you have proven that there is probable cause and I hereby allow you legal permission to go search and seize those items, okay, they need your consent. So it's a good segue for what do we do if ATF shows up and asks, hey, can we take a look at a couple of your firearms? Well, listen, if they're asking you to take a look at a couple of your firearms, it means they don't have any legal authority to do it, and they will not have any legal authority unless, of course, you give it to them through your consent. Politely decline, politely forward them the name of your attorney, and politely end the conversation there. There is absolutely nothing good that could come from a voluntary conversation with an ATF agent who has shown up to your property specifically to look at a particular firearm. There is nothing good that can come of that. They are not there for useful purposes. They are there to investigate a crime, or they are there under the suspicion of a crime, and your voluntary participation in that investigation without the advice of counsel will do you no good. So the bottom line is, can the ATF just show up and inspect your firearms? Well, the answer is they can show up and ask to do it, but they are never going to show up with legal authority to do it unless, of course, they show up with a search warrant, at which time the game is over. Stand aside. They will execute that warrant. Listen, in the meantime, if you have any other questions about this or anything else related to your Second Amendment rights, remember, you can always contact us at WashingtonGunLaw.com, or, of course, you can call us directly at 425-765-0487. Now, let's remember, part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here at Washington Gun Law, is to know what the law is in every situation and how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching. Stay safe.